We have partnered with the QCTO, the WNR CETA, as well as one of the largest retailers in South Africa in running a pilot project. Now, we are probably about 3 to 4 months into the program. We've started with the classes. We've had feedback sessions based on the classes. We've touched on all the different components. We've got the 3 components that sit under the different modules. And today, Anand and Rolandie is going to give us a little bit of a screenshot of what has been going on in this movement, what has our learnings been through the pilot project, and give us a little bit more information on what's happening in the industry. Firstly, what have been the kind of challenges that we've faced up until now, and what has been some of the wins. But without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Anand and Rolandie, and just before they start off, we will have a Q&A session right at the end. If you do have a question during the course, you can either type it in the chat box, and then we will attend to the question at the end of the process, and we will then open up the floor right at the end as well for everyone to jump in and fire away some of the questions. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining. Anand, Rolandie, over to you.
Hi, thank you, Andre, for that. Really appreciate it. Once again, thank you all for joining our first 2023 QCTO news webinar. Like Andre has mentioned, my name is Anand and Krishna. I'm the National Projects Director for the Ubuhle Group.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rolandie Delport, and I'm one of the National Project Managers for the Ubuhle Group.
And just to get into what Andre has discussed, so me and Rolandie will be taking you guys through our journey with the QCTO, as well as sharing some valuable information that we picked up as well. I trust that the information that we share will be informative and will assist you guys in also understanding our processes, or the QCTO processes that's in place at the moment. So just give us a moment. We're just going to share our screen, share our PowerPoint, and we will get started. Go to the next screen. Okay, so as you guys, like I said to you guys, we will be taking you through the QCTO processes and what we found out as well. So within the month, guys, there'll be a major changes. More specifically, come the end of June 2023, there'll be a major transformation in this skills development space that's going to impact all organizations as well as the workforces as well. The impact being that all our legacy qualification that we all are so used of running with the relevant CETAs will come to an end, in the sense that no SDPs, skills development training providers, can apply for accreditation for legacy qualifications comes June 2023. Qualification that can be applied for will be the occupational qualification that has been accredited by the QCTO. All right, that comes in effect after the June 2023 expiry date. Some of our discussion with the relevant CETAs being the services CETA as well as the WNR CETA, but more so with the services CETA, there will be some legacy qualification that will have the end date extended. But like I said to you, we're not sure which legacy qualification this will be. But when I get more information, we will share that on our website. So you guys, please take note of that as well. At the end of our session, we will share our website with you guys to share this valuable information with you guys, taking you through. So the major impact, like I said to you guys, is the legacy qualification that will be taking into effect in June 2023.
Okay, so some of the questions you might ask is, what are the changes that will take place or effect from June 2023? So from our interaction with the CETAs as well as the QCTO, the registration end date for every historical qualification will be the 30th of June this year, with a phase-out period of 1 year for learners to still be enrolled up to and including the 30th of June 2024. After this date, the 30th of June 2024, they will have to comply to occupationally directed qualification. So that will take effect from there on forward. Training, assessments, moderations, and achievements on these qualifications will only continue with learners registered before this period, the 30th of June 2024. A teach-out period will facilitate learners enrolled before the 30th of June 2024 up until the 30th of June 2027. But no statements of results or certificates will longer be issued post the 30th of June 2027. So why this renewed focus on specific occupational skills? The new QCTO qualifications intend to be more targeted and specific to the occupational profile of the learner, which in turn then aims to enhance the quality of the training and the qualification. So by designing these qualifications that are more aligned with the specific skills and the specific knowledge needed for a particular occupation, the QCTO aims to ensure that the learners are better prepared for the workplace so that they have all the skills and the knowledge required to contribute effectively to the South African economy. And by using this new approach, the learners will benefit as well as their employers, industry bodies, and the economy.
Thank you, Rolandie, for that. Guys, just to reiterate what Rolandie has said as well. I know it was a mouthful as well of some of the changes that's going to happen in the training phase as well. As one of the SDPs training nationally with various corporate clients as well. Like I said to you guys at the initial phase as well, it's going to impact how training is taking place and how it will be taking place in the training environment, as well as with your learners, how it impacts your learners as well. Because with regards to your historical qualification, as you guys are all aware, we know a learnership program is a 12-month process. Going into some occupational qualifications or occupational learnership program as well. You will have some programs running for 2 years and some programs going into 5 years as well. So that's a major change that will be happening as well. Like I said to you, there are some risk factors and there will be some challenges regarding facing learnership running for 2 years and going to 5 years. All right. But we will discuss going into the year as well. What are some of the major changes with having a learnership program running 2 years and running 5 years as well? And in addition to that as well, we find that it is critical for skill development providers that the SDPs to be accredited and start aligning themselves now and getting themselves ready for running these occupational qualifications. It is a process, all right? If you look at guys that are applying for occupational qualification accreditation with the QCTO, it is a lengthy process. And the QCTO has, I had a discussion with the quality director from the QCTO with regards to accreditation of SDPs. And they find that going into 2023, 2024, there's been an influx of application with the QCTO for accreditation from SDPs, as well as some organizations that have already their own training academies in their companies as well. So what we have gathered as well is the staff complement from the QCTO to handle the influx of application coming through is quite a bit. So they have as well as been assigning some of their tasks to the assessment quality partners and the development quality partners. That's already the CETAs that's will be reporting to them to assist them in accrediting training providers as well as organization as well that already has the in-house training academy as well. So like I said to you guys, it's vital if you're an SDP to start the process, there's a lot of paperwork, there's a lot of administration involved in getting accredited with occupational qualification. And some of the things we picked up is that you need to understand what is some of the policies and procedures involved in getting accreditation. But we will talk more about that during our presentation with you guys today as well. So we understand that this change from legacy to QCT has created a lot of uncertainty. I mean, really, an anxiety and confusion in the training landscape. And this has been noted through the question and queries that we have been asked from our clients, clients and stakeholders as well. And what we found out, some of these queries range from a lot of questions, and some of it was regards to, like I said to you, with accreditation and training material, what will be the change with regards to assessment processes and learner registration. All right. The major thing that we picked up as well is SETA funding. How does the SETA funding work with and grant claim process work as well? I had a consultation today with the WNR SETA. This is my primary SETA. I had a consultation with them. How does the SETA funding and the grant claim process work? Because we're all aware that the management delivery fee with the WNR SETA, I'm just talking on, sorry guys, I know some of you guys have different SETA that you guys report to, but we most so deal with the WNR SETA. So with regards to the management delivery fee, did you know that it was set all along with the learnership program being a 1-year program? But my consultation today with the WNR SETA is because there's certain occupational qualification that have less credit values to what a normal learnership program will be of a minimum of 120. So they're re-looking or realigning, put it that way to you, the management and delivery fee of these qualifications that has credit value less than 120. All right. There are other queries that we picked up as well is how will this affect the tax rebates as well as the impact on the triple BE points as well. So with regards to the tax rebate, and like once again, with my consultation with the SETA today as well, is that the learnership programs that's registered with the QCTO, even though the credit value is less than 120, they have been afforded or been assigned a learnership registration number from DET, Department of Higher Education, that gives them a learnership number for tax rebates. But there's still discussion on how to apply this with the tax rebate if this qualification or a qualification is less than 12 months. Like once again, once we get more clarity on how the process will work, we will share this, guys, with you on our next news bulletins on the QCTO, as well as on our website as well.
Okay, so what can we share with you as a training provider who has started the transformation process from historical to occupational qualification? It can be summarized in one sentence: adapt or get left behind. We urge all organizations involved with skills development to ensure that they are positioned and ready for the change that's taking place. A transition of this magnitude is going to have gaps and hurdles. It is inevitable. But it is time for both industry and the STPs to work together to understand these new processes and policies, and to perhaps even challenge the implementation thereof, especially where there's a lack of clarity and understanding. This should be emphasized specifically where companies are reliant on skills development programs for broad-based Black economic empowerment level points. To this end, organizations would be wise to partner with training provider partners that have already undertaken and achieved QCTO accreditation. A few points that we would like to raise from our personal experience is to identify a staff member, preferably a subject matter expert in your industry, to review the QCTO policies, their processes, their procedures that is available on the website so that you are informed of the changes that will be taking place.
Guys, just to reiterate what Rolandie has said here as well is, and like I said to you, it really helped in our journey to understanding what the processes is with the QCTO. What does the QCTO want and what does the CTO want? Because from our understanding as well, there's not much information sharing between the two entities at the moment. And for us to have a understanding of what's required from an SDP or from an organization, it's good to go through the website, both the website, your CTO website as well as the QCTO website, to look at the information shared on these matters, on your concerns as well. So what we have done is, for myself, we got a subject matter expert in the field into the retail sphere. Go to the QCTO, look what's on the QCTO website, read all the policy information, share that with the management team, share that with our stakeholders, which that we're currently doing with you guys as well. We find that it's important and vital to share information with all involved in sectors, so we all have a better understanding of what's required on this new landscape as well.
Another recommendation from our side would be for these subject matter experts in your company to build extremely good relationships with the relevant quality assurers from your region, from both the CETA and the QCTO, as these quality assurers will assist you with the before mentioned queries and any uncertainties that you might have when you go through the change process. Then have knowledge on how to unpack the curriculum documents. And finally, to be innovative and forward-thinking so that you are able to lead your team and your company through this change process. We started our journey of being awarded accreditation with the QCTO in 2018, and we find that we are still learning and we are still adapting into this new landscape. The QCTO, like Anand has mentioned, has a very useful guide on their website. It's called The Road to Success, and you will be able to find this on their landing page. And this guide helps to assist training providers and organizations to understand and successfully run quality occupational learning programs. All information contained in the guide, like Anand said, it's based on the QCTO policies. And although you can find it on the QCTO website, we will also share it on our Ubuhle website so that you are able to access it of ease.
Guys, yeah, once again, guys, the document that Rolandie is speaking about, the road to success, if you go into your QCTO website, the landing page, you'll find, just scroll to the bottom, you'll find it there. It'll say road to success. This document is a very useful tool. I find it takes you to the journey of what the QCTO policy wants, from your accreditation to your assessments to running a project and what is required and what documents you will require as well. There's a nice flow diagram as well that will assist you on how to implement a occupational qualification. But this is something we will discuss as take it through a journey as well. So as Andre has mentioned earlier on as well, where are we currently now? So as Rolandie said, we have been awarded a QCTO accreditation from 2018, and we're currently running a pilot QCTO occupational qualification, which is the retail chain store manager NQF level 5, registered with the WRCTA as well as a QCTO on behalf of Africa's largest supermarket retailer, all right, in the 5 provinces as well. So some of our success story that we have found running a pilot project, and some of the challenges I will discuss with you as well, is the registration process is still a gray area, especially with the WRCTA. We found that the system is not in line currently at the moment to register learners on an occupational qualification. All right. We've been told that once the system is up and running, we can start registering our learners on the program. But like Andre said, we are already started registering the learners on the system. That's the QCTO system. So there's a process to register learners on the QCTO. And like I said to you, if you go through the road to success document, it gives you the way how to register the learners with the QCTO. So it's vital to, if you're running a occupational qualification or you're looking to run an occupational qualification, that before you run it, you go through this document to have the knowledge how to register your learners. Because if you do not register your learners on the register learning with the QCTO, you cannot run the project. The QCTO will shut your project down. You have to register the learners within 21 days with the QCTO so that the QCTO can schedule their monitoring visit with you as well. A facilitation assessment must be linked to workplace activities. And like Rolandie said earlier as well, your facilitators have to be subject matter experts. Because they will be unpacking the three components that Andre has mentioned earlier as well, which is your knowledge, your practical, and your workplace components as well. And for us as well, we found that integrating your module is one of the key requirements in running a occupational qualification. And it's been challenging as well, because when we started this process to run this pilot project, when we unpacked the curriculum document, we found the three components: the knowledge, your practical, and your workplace components, which outlines what's required to run these modules, three components, but it was not integrated. So my discussion with the QCTO, when I had the visit with assistant director with our quality assurance as well, she said, all training providers running an occupational qualification have to integrate the modules. It has to be workplace modules. So you will have to integrate your knowledge, your practical, and your workplace module into separate modules. Break it onto separate module, put it that way to you. Break it onto separate module and make it easy for the learners. So this is one thing that's not in the curriculum document. We have shared this with the QCTO as well as the CETA as well to look into this. Because what we find the major risk is going to be that there's not going to be consistency in running a occupational qualification from provider to provider. If it's not clearly outlined from the CETA what is required from integration of these three components. We were lucky in the sense that our KZN quality assurance Shirley Pillay was on board with us from the start of the pilot project, which assisted us as well in ensuring that we comply with the QCTO processes and the policy as well. So it's like I said to you guys, it's a daunting task, but once you get started with it as well, it gets more easier. And like Rolandie said as well, it's a learning curve for everybody. So that's the reason we want to share what our challenges with you as well as some of our wins as well that we picked up as well, right? We also noted that the mentors in the QCTO qualification plays a vital role in the training. All right. With my discussion with the QCTO as well, they will also be monitoring the mentors and the learners on a quarterly basis to ensure that the learners are getting the vital support in the workplace with regards to their workplace components training and the practical training as well. All right, because this is going to impact on the external integrated summative assessment. So this is one of the new components, put it to you, that that's going to move from your legacy to your occupational qualification. With your legacy qualification or historical qualification, as you guys are aware, the learners will do the normal learnership program over within 12 months. All right, they will do continuous summative assessments for each unit standard or each module. Once they've been found competent by the internal moderator, we submit for external moderator with the CETA, and the CETA does a sampling of a learner's portfolio from the group, and then the learner will get their certificates. Going forward with occupational qualification, the learner will go through the different components, the knowledge, the practical, and the workplace components. Once they've been found competent by the internal and the assessor and moderator and the company, they will be issued a statement of results for the knowledge, practical, and the workplace components. Once that is done, then they will apply to sit and write an external integrated summative assessment with the QCTO. and the CETA, the relevant CETA, they will given a date to be written this exam. So the learners will go write this exam at the assessment center. All right. So it's a closed book exam as well. So like I said, you guys, it's going to be a little tougher, put it that way to you, for learners to complete a learnership program compared to what they are. And that's a reality of it as well. So like I said to you guys, we're going to share all this, our journey with you while we're running this pilot project as well. So guys, just to reiterate again, there's a lot of changes coming up in the QCTO space, as well as the CETAs. I know some of you guys are still wary and still getting a lot of different information from different people with regards to what's happening out there as well. So my take on it, like I started this in 2017, 2018, getting my understanding of what's around the QCTO. And the best way to do this is get in touch with the QCTO, build relationships with the QCTO, build relationships with the CETAs, get your understanding, get your first-hand understanding on the know-how. If you do not know something, seek advice from people in your industry as well. What have they learned as well? Because it's going to take us some time as SDP skill development, as well as organization, to take hands in this new journey as well, out there as well.
Awesome. Anand, thank you so much. And Rolandie, thank you so much. You know, I think there's so much gray area around what's happening with the requirements of the QCTO, how that practically looks and plays off. So which leaves a lot up for imagination, right? And I think this is where the consultation comes to play. You know, this is where you go to the CETA and the QCTO and say, all right, this is what I've heard. Can you confirm? Or this is, I don't understand how this process works. Please elaborate. And oftentimes, unfortunately, they also come back to you with, we don't know how it works.
Yeah.
And I think we've ran over and we've jumped over some of those hurdles a couple of times from our side. But again, it is trial and error as we go along. And I think the beauty of what we have here is that we've got a footprint to follow, to say, you know, registration process, we're going through it. This is our learnings. How does the workplace modules take place? Here's some of our experience around it to try and guide, you know, industry in what's happening. And the beauty of what we are doing with this pilot is that it sets us up at a platform where we are already picking up certain components within the training that isn't practical, that it's not practical for the workplace. It's not practical for a training provider. It's not practical for the learner to do. And with this information, we are able to sit with the QCTO and say, listen, guys, this is how the qualification is going. This is impractical. We have to re-look at and realign this module or this way of thinking or this implementation, because there's no, what do you call it? There's no example of how to work about. And this feedback we are able to provide in consultation to the WNRC as well as the QCTO and say, guys, this is working, this is not working. How do we make everything flow? How's the content put together? I mean, a massive learning for us when we started this whole process was, how do we combine the necessary workplace and practical modules with the knowledge modules so that they speak to each other? And still, which leaves us up with some questions that if it does become a fun project and you need to complete a certain unit stand or a certain component before and achieve a certain amount of credits before you can claim, how's that process going to work? So we don't know. And sorry, Anand. So it's all part of the learning that we are going through. And what we are essentially here is to provide you guys, and we're going to try and have this on a monthly basis to try and feedback and say, all right, this is some new learning. This is something new that's popped out of the conversation. So yeah, sorry, Anand, you wanted to say something.
Yeah. Andre, on your point that you mentioned as well, if you look at the QC or your occupational qualification that's out there as well from the different CETAs as well. Yes, the CETAs, I know the WNR CETAs is currently aligning themselves with getting all the legacy qualification aligned to QCTO. I see the services CETA as well is starting aligning their legacy qualification to QCTO. And you see there's a lot of emails going up from the services CETA as well as the other CETA as well to to skill development providers and organization to start applying for accreditation for these occupational qualification. And they make it clear that the CETAs will not be providing training material to the SDPs or organization for occupational qualification. And that is one of our main concerns that I have discussed with the QCTO and the CETAs, is that there's going to be a lot of inconsistency with training. And this is going to impact the learners, because the learners at the end of the day are going to write an external integrated summative assessment set out by the CETA. And every training provider is going to have a different set of how they train or how they present their training material to these learners. So it's going to be unfair to the learners. My suggestion to the WNR CETA as well as the service CETA is for them to provide the SDPs and organization with training material so that we all on excuse me guys, we're all on the same page when we unpack the qualification to the learners as well. Because at the end of the day, we do not want to disadvantage the learner in this journey, whether it's a year of training, whether it's a 2 year of a training, or some qualification goes up to 5 years. And I mean, there's some qualification out there has some credits related to 400 credits to 500 credits. So like I said to you guys, it's going to impact how do we run a learnership program, or how the funding model is going to be from the CETAs for these learnership program that has programs running over 2 years, over 3 years. And how is that going to impact your workforce planning, especially with unemployed learners that's going to be in your workforce for 2 years, 3 years, or less than that. So these are some of the questions that I think we need to be sharing as SDPs as well as organizations, saying, you know what, how are these changes going to impact us? Because we need to take it to the QCTO as well as the CETAs and not just accept everything they give to us as well. We need to say, hey guys, hold on, this is going to impact the sector in a certain way, and not we don't agree, or we agree, and find a workable solution towards how do we run these programs.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for that, Anand. I think let's jump into some of the questions, and I see there's some of them have been attended to, but I think let's just run through them. And I've got a couple of questions. So Anand, and I think just as an outline, just again to everyone, remember that there are QCTO qualifications that have been running for many years with a variety of other CETAs, and what we are talking specifically about is the pilot that we have with the WNR CETA, which is the wholesale and retail space, right? But let's jump into some of these questions quickly. All right, so some of the trainer asked, what constitutes a subject matter expert?
Okay, so our understanding or our discussion again with the QCTO, I mean, I had a meeting with them about 2 months ago. And we're looking at the subject matter expert in the field. So what they're saying is, if I'm going to use the retail space as an example. So if we're running an occupational qualification retail manager, all right, the curriculum document says that the facilitator for this qualification must be a subject matter expert with 5 years experience as a store manager or higher position in that space as a for to be deemed a subject matter expert, because they're saying to us is that for a facilitator to facilitate a management program, they have to have the relevant industry experience, 5 years or more, to facilitate that program to these learners. So I hope that answers your question. So because if you look at the curriculum document as well, it says a subject matter expert with that year's experience has to be have that relevant industry experience. You got to have that industry experience, because if I'm going to teach you, for example, I use a simple example, to bake a bread. I'll use an example again, to bake a bread. As a baker, all right, I can not have worked in a bakery. I can just show you or teach you the theory part of how to bake a bread. But with a subject matter expert as a baker, he will show you, this is the ingredient, this is how you put it in the oven, this is how you bake a bread, this is how much experience he has in the thing, in the industry itself. So it's a vital that we look for subject matter experts going into occupational qualification, because currently we have a lot of facilitators out there that can train a program, but they don't have relevant experience in the industry. So if you're looking at, for example, we're looking at the wholesale and retail sector, and I had a major discussion with our QA 2 days ago, Shirley Pillay from the KZN office. So if you guys are registered with the WNR CETA and want more answers with your subject matter expert, you guys are more than willing to give her a call as well. I did have a chat with her with regards to subject matter experts, and she also advised that going forward, that they will, when they are approving your implementation plan to run out a occupational qualification, you will need to provide to the CETA, your relevant CETA, a full detailed CV of your subject matter expert and the relevant experience that they have. You cannot just say a Rolandie here has 5 years experience at a spa to run a management program. She was a store manager. They will be doing reference checks to see that you were a manager with a spa group. They will look at your qualification if there was some qualification that you had as well.
And just a question on that, it's Arlene here.
Hello, Arlene.
To what extent are the service providers able to comply to that? Because you've got facilitators that are SMEs from a theoretical point of view, as you would, for example, have a lecturer in a public university, etc. Now you've got to shift that to an experienced SME. So how are you able to respond to that other than going to source from industry?
So
it's a bit of a tall ask.
No, it is a tall ask for, I mean, it's a tall ask for a lot of training SDPs out there. And I know it's going to, like I said to you, it's going to impact a lot of trainers out there as well who don't have a relevant skills, industry experience. But like I said to you, we've been fortunate enough that some of our facilitators are subject matter experts from the retail industry as well. And we've been prepping ourselves, getting subject matter experts into the field. We're looking at our area managers, retail managers that have left retail, that are currently out there or retired as well, taking them in as our subject matter experts to bring them into the space as well. Because like I said to you, we have to compile what the QCTO wants, as well as what the WNR CETA wants, or what the CETA wants as well. Because if you look at the curriculum document out there as well, when it comes to the assessment criteria, they speak about the relevant years of experience that your assessor or your facilitator should have, all right? Or they say they should have, for example, 3 years experience in training the relevant subject or qualification. So this is one of the things that are brought up the QCTO and the WNRC. I say, you know what? You guys talk about subject matter expert, but you also talk about a facilitator who has experience training, for example, 3 years or 5 years, a management program. Can we still use them? And the answer I got, no, they have to be subject matter expert in that industry. I say, but then why does your curriculum document say something else? And you'll say, makes a big difference there. So I'm still fighting with them with that. like I said to you guys, if I get more feedback on that point, I will share that with you guys as well.
Yeah,
I
thank
think
you.
Rolandie, thanks, Olin. Appreciate the chat. Rolandie, make note of that so that as we go along, that
Yeah.
we could provide Olin and perhaps everyone on the webinar with updates as we go along, right? So Anand, on that, obviously the important thing is that you need to go and look at the curriculum document, and that shows you what institutes, because each qualification might have something different. It's not set in stone. Specifically for the one that we are working with, that is that defines the subject matter expert. But for the NKF2 retail shelf filler, it's something different. For the operations or the retail
100%.
Supervisor, it's something different. So as a matter of interest for everyone that wants to understand, for specific qualifications that you're either looking to get accreditation yourself or looking to identify your SME, you've got to go and look at the curriculum document for the specific qualification that you're looking for, which I believe is downloadable from the QCTO's website, right? Perfect.
No, 100%. Okay. I think,
thanks,
Andre, I think one of the vital things is that if you're looking to run, or if you're looking to, let's say, to implement an occupational qualification from either from a training provider point of view or from an organization point of view, is that you go onto the QCT website, you go onto the relevant CETA website, you download the document, the curriculum document yourself, and see what outlined there as well. I mean, this goes for organizations out there as well. If you are, what's the word I'm looking for? If you are, I'm lost for words there. If you are contracting, if you are contracting a training provider to run an occupational qualification for you, you would also, as an organization, need to understand what is it that your training provider is doing there as well for the occupational qualification. Are they running all the components that's required of the qualification? Do you understand what is required from you as an employer or an organization from you as well? What is your role in running an occupational qualification? Like I said, your role with this learner's journey is immense as an employer for running an occupational qualification. It doesn't wholly sits with your training provider. There's a lot of documents or a lot of input that comes from the employer to run an occupational qualification, because the focus here is because the focus with an occupational qualification is that when the learner leaves or finishes an occupational qualification, they are work ready for that position that they trained for. It's not like where a learner goes into an legacy qualification, let's say, for example, a distribution qualification, and it's happening out there. I've seen it as well. I mean, we're not doing it, but it's happening out there where we get feedback. A learner is doing a distribution learnership program, but they're working on the cash desk, or they're working as a cashier, but they finish the program, but they have no idea what a distribution qualification entails. With your occupational qualification, the learner will go through the 3 phases that Andre has spoken about as well, that we discussed as well, is the knowledge. They'll also do practical workplace examples, and also have to go back in the workplace to complete a workplace project and workplace logbooks to complete a specific module in a distribution qualification. And this will be monitored by the QCTO and the WNR to see that these learners are being exposed to the different environments out there in the workplace for an occupational qualification. Anything to add?
Thanks, okay. All right, so I'm just wary there is a couple of questions, so I'm just going to run through 1 or 2 more. The practical component, Anand, done with a training provider or in the workplace?
So guys, this is a question that we picked up as well when we started our pilot project, all right, with the management. So we did that, like I said to you guys, it's It was a daunting task, but it's a learning curve. It's a very, it's a learning curve. So I'm going to share this with you as well. So especially with, like I said, we ran the retail manager program to put the implementation plan or the roller plan, as some of you may be aware, together. You have to basically integrate the different components together to make a module. So I'll give you an example. We have to take certain components from your knowledge module, from your practical module, as well as your workplace module, put them together to make one specific module. I'll call it, let's say, leadership. All right. Leadership, when you look at the curriculum document, it will be split into different areas in your curriculum document. So when we did the leadership for the practical module, so the practical module is done with the training provider at the training venue or the practicum room as well, where the training is occurring. So this gives the learner a practical experience of what to do when it comes to leadership before they go complete their workplace component, which is the third component in the workplace. So to answer your question, Andre, yes, the practical module is done with the training provider in the training room or your practicum room as well.
Awesome. Thanks. Okay. Thank you for clarifying. And then obviously, learners will still be submitting POEs, because one of the questions is, are there no more POEs?
No. Learners will be still submitting evidence. Remember something, your learners will submit evidence, all right? So to reiterate what I said as well, as a training provider, if you're already accredited as a QCTO accredited provider and you have your training material with all the different components, you will start to integrate these modules, all right? Let's say, and like I said to you, let's say you integrate module 1 into leadership, where you have your knowledge, your practical, and your workplace modules. The learner will still submit evidence for your knowledge modules as well as your practical modules. You still have your internal assessor and internal moderator will mark these to find the learners competent to move next to your next module. So remember something, we still your knowledge, your practical, and your workplace module still form part of your formative learning pathway going into your final summative assessment, which is your external integrated summative assessment. So a learner will still have to complete these evidence. Your training provider will have to keep this evidence very safe, because this will be monitored by the QCTO as well. Because at the end of the program, the training provider will need to provide to the learner a statement of results to showing competency in these 3 components.
Awesome. Thanks. The next question that we have is from Arlene. How have the delegates responded to the expectations of the inclusion of an exam component?
So, exclusion or inclusion?
The expectation of the inclusion of the so obviously we haven't gone to the physical exams yet.
Yes.
If I'm not, but I think there is going to be quite a bit of resistance against that.
But surely when the nominations have come through, we've shared with the delegates that there's a shift, because they may have gone through a learnership before, understood that's their previous experience. And we surely need to be transparent that there's a change in that component. So what is that response been to date?
No, 100%. So Arlene, like I said to you, it's vital once again, when you are signing occupational qualification or you're contracting a service provider for you to run your occupational qualification, that you have a look at the roll-up plan and you see how is it going to impact your learners. So what we have done is that when I drew up the implementation plan for the occupational qualification and I looked at it, that's why I say again, it's good to have a subject matter expert in your organization that understands what it is from a learner perspective as well. So with the management qualification that's broken up into 7 modules, and for a learner to go write an exam right at the end as well, it's terrifying for a learner firstly. So what I've done was I have broken it down as well. I gave them tests for each module. So as they complete each module, there's a test that a knowledge test that the learners will write. So I try to prepare them for the external assessment as well. So the learners will go through the process doing continuous assessments or continuous tests, preparing themselves for the final external assessment. But prior to them writing that external assessment as well, we will do a mock assessment, which I will get from the CETAs. All right, the CETA will provide us with a mock exam for the learners to write as well. So they prepare themselves. The mock exam is the look and feel will be exactly the same as your external integrated summative assessment, EISA exam. So yeah, so we prepared that for them prior to them writing that exam as well. So they have understanding. There's no surprise feel, put it that way to you. So if question 1 was a multiple choice question in your mock exam, in your final exam that the learner will write, they will also find that question 1 will be a multiple choice question. So it make it give them an ease as well to so when they're writing their exams.
Fantastic. All right. So one of the questions, will this also apply for skills programs?
So we're not currently running a skills program at the moment. Like I said, I had a discussion with Nazia today from the WNR CETA with regards to skills program. She will give me more feedback once she gets back. She thought she was flying out to Nelspruit when I caught her. But once I get more information on the skills program, I will share that with you guys as well.
Okay.
And once again, the WNR CETA as well is also in the process of developing occupational skills programs as well.
Awesome. Thanks. Okay. Yeah, there's just a note to obviously update on the questions that we don't have answers for, that we can update everyone on that. Does the EISA replace the external moderation by the CETA?
Yes. So as you guys have been aware, previously the learner will go to the external moderation with the CETAs, and thereafter the CETA will issue a certificate to the learners. The new process is the learner will complete all the modules, the knowledge practicals, and the workplace components. Once they've completed that, the training provider will issue a statement of results to the learner of competency for their knowledge, the practical, and the workplace components. Once the learner has received the statement of results, then can they apply for the EISA exam with the relevant CETA. Once that is done, the CETA will give, I think it's done on a quarterly basis as well, but I'm standing to be corrected there as well. The CETA will give the learner a date for them to write the EISA exam. Once the learner has written the EISA exam and passed the EISA exam, I think the pass mark is 8%.
Yeah.
Is 80%. They pass the EISA exam. Will the learner be then given a certificate?
80%. Geez, I can't remember when was the last time I got 80% for anything. So
Andre as well.
that'd be wild.
If I look at my metric results, I didn't get an 80%. I did. I'm lying.
Wink, wink,
Yeah,
Anand.
yes,
So what, Anna, what is the difference between the occupational qualification and the skills programs? Obviously, the amount of credits aligned to it, right? And there's a
100%.
Yeah. Okay. So kind of number of credits, typical, I mean, what you would get from a occupational qualification versus what you would get from a skills program and those kind of things. So it's a big difference, right?
Yeah. So if you look at the current occupational qualification, I'm just talking here now, guys, just with the WNR CETA. Okay. Even if I look at the services CETA, occupational qualification. And like I mentioned, if you remember in the past legacy qualification, when it came to learnership program, the minimum credit value was 120 credits for a learnership program. There's a minimum. Now, if you look at all these occupational qualifications that's coming out there, you're getting qualifications sitting at maybe at 36 credits. All right, but it's still regarded as a learnership program, because the DHET has given them a learnership number for that qualification, even though the credit value is 36. Then you have a qualification that has 420 credits that runs over 2 to 5 years, that has a learnership number as well. Then you will have your skills program that be designed by the different CETAs, all right? They're calling it skills program, will also have a credit value, most probably of 30 to 40 credits. So your skills program, like I said to you, will be developed by your different CETAs, naming it either a skills program or a short qualification. So like I said, guys, you will have to visit your different CETAs, look at the QCTO as well on the short or skills program that's available out there, to make that to differentiate between the skills program and your full occupational qualifications.
Fantastic. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, does your SMEs have to or get registered?
Yeah. So if you're looking at your subject matter experts, right? If you're looking at facilitation, they have to be registered with the different CETAs as well. So like I said to you guys, it's a catch-20 process, because if you're looking at your subject matter expert, that if you're going to start employing now, that let's say is a retired area manager or a regional manager into your industry, but they're not a registered assessors, you have to look at maybe from an organization point of view, registering them as an assessor. I mean, it's going to benefit you in the long run as well, having those experts as a subject matter to either assess your qualification or assess your learners, as well as moderate your learners as well.
All right. Then there's a couple of questions that are being around compliance training and those kind of things. And it's to be honest, Ken and Peter, it's not something that we are working with. And I don't know, I mean, what there are concerns about any issues related to legal compliance training. And again, we're not working in that space. We are working in the WNR space, the services CETA and the MERS CETA mostly, but for purposes of this, unfortunately, Ken, Peter, I can't give you any answers on that.
Andre, what I picked up is when we ran our occupational qualification with the WNR CETA as well, is one of the challenges we face is that if we look at what is out there from the QCTO perspective in running or implementing occupational qualification, we started the project and then the WNR CETA asked, where's your workplace approval? Because now you need to get your workplace approval first. But then your QCTO says, no, you run your project and then they will do the workplace approval. So like I said to you, there's two conflicting policies with regards to workplace approval. But like I said to you, once we get more clarity as well, I'll inform you guys as well.
Thanks, Anand. All right. How does the...
Sorry, Andre, if I can quickly jump in.
Yeah, how's it, Ken?
Hi, guys. And thank you so much, Anand and Rolandie and Andre. This has been a great presentation. Filled in little cracks in the gaps in understanding. My first and only one that I'll ask now is just raise it because this is relevant to WNR, is first aid. The workplace must have first aiders, and now the unit standard is going to expire. The legislation has changed. There is nothing, QCTO has nothing, there's no qualification or skills program. Help?
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
If you could answer that, that'd be great. Thank you so much.
I think, you know, Ken, and I might answer just from my side. I am not sure that they have considered all the avenues in terms of what is available as legacy qualifications and as legacy unit standards, and really built all of that into the takeover from an occupational qualification point of view. And to be honest, I don't think we've got the answers of that. Am I correct in saying that or not?
Yeah, what I can say is this, and this is my just interaction with all the parties involved. the WNR, I mean the CETAs, but different CETAs as well as the QCTO. The QCTO was there, and all the CETAs knew that there was going to be a shift from legacy or historical to occupational qualification. This was in the making for the past 10 years. The thing is that the CETAs have been sitting back and waiting instead of realigning the historical qualification, even realigning the skills program to occupational qualification. If you look at what's happening now with the services CETA, for example, all of a sudden they are realigning the qualifications, some of the qualification, not all the qualification, to be realigned with the occupational qualifications, to occupational qualification. And it's challenging, especially for STPs out there as well, to get occupational qualification. I mean, we all STPs out there have a lot of legacy qualification that we are registered for to run. But I was just saying to Andre this morning, what's going to happen when we start running out to run occupational qualification? Because just got a handful of occupational qualification to assist our clients or to assist our stakeholders out there as well. What's going to happen? What choices do organizations have if they want to run occupational or skills programs? It's going to be a major challenge out there.
Yeah, and again, I think, you know, this is in terms of what we have tried to prepare for as well as we possibly can for the QCTO with occupational qualifications that take over, is that you know, obviously that we try and across the industries have enough to be able to offer to our clients. I mean, if I consider what we have from a legacy point of view, we can offer up to 60 qualifications that we have under our umbrella across 10 different industries. All of a sudden, when you start looking at some of the major industries in the legacy qualifications that we worked with, they've got 2 occupational qualifications to replace 40 legacy qualifications, and that's where we are. And unfortunately, I mean, everybody assumed, like they did in 2018, that the CETA and the QCTO, they would
extend and extend.
They would extend and extend, and our biggest fear is that they have had enough of extensions. They're going to go cold turkey on everyone. But there might be some, like Anand has mentioned, some legacy qualifications that will be extended, but not all. So it does set us up for a little bit of a roller coaster ride, especially for the skills development providers, you know. So Anand, sorry, Ken, I don't think it fully answers your question though.
It doesn't, but don't worry. It's been like this for a while, and I'm sure we'll find the answer somewhere on the. We're really patient. In the meantime, we say to everybody, just do your first aid training, do your firefighting training, just comply with the law, 100%. And don't worry too much about whether you comply with SACRA.
Yeah, just do the training and be legal, right? And then carry on from there.
I think, and Ken, one of the things, guys, I think that we as STPs, I think that we need to band together, and I'm saying this out there, even organization, that the CETAs have been mandated by the QCTO to realign their legacy qualification to occupational qualifications. Okay, so the CETAs are aligning and sending out curriculum documents to which STPs and companies can apply for accreditation. But what they need to do, and I'm saying this out again, is provide the STPs and organization with training material. But I'm saying to you, how do you put a curriculum in place if you do not have a training material out there? Because then you are putting the learners at risk, and you're getting all these fly-by-night training or material developers coming out there selling all these QCTO ready material to STPs. And it's going to be a nightmare. It's going to be a total nightmare. And I think that for the benefit of the learners, like you say, if it's going to be the benefit of the learners, that the CETA should be providing the SDPs and organization. These are the training material. This is how you integrate your module or integrate the module for them as well, for them to use to implement the occupational qualification. Because like I said to you guys, it's been a learning curve for us, for myself and Rolandie, more so in putting up a roller plan and looking at the notional hours, looking at the time that the learner needs to spend in the workplace, spend in the practicum room, spend doing the theory, getting an idea from the learner's perspective. Is it enough time or is it too little time? What are their thoughts? Like I said to you, it's just crazy. Like, and my personal thing is the CETA should be providing us with training material. All the SDPs out there with the training material, clear guidelines, guys. This is the training material. This is how you integrate it. This is what your roll-up plan should look like. This is what the notional hours should look like, and give us guidance. It's now the training providers out there is like, guys, you guys got to get on board, and everybody's doing their own things. So yeah, inconsistency for me is a major thing, and I think a major risk for, like Ken said as well, it's going to be a major risk for everybody out there as well.
Yeah, Anand, guys, I think we are running past the time set out for this, and I do understand that there are quite a bit of people that need to get where they need to get to and have other commitments, and there are some questions that are still on the that we haven't answered. But what I suggest we do is we will take everybody that's registered for the learnership will take the emails as communication, and we'll create a communication group where we will share all the questions that were asked, some of the answers to it, and keep the information amongst the people that attended, so that we are thorough about addressing this. And then we will keep you guys posted about the next webinar. We will tackle some of the new issues that we picked up, or some of the new challenges, and some of the new ways that the QCTO qualification surprises us with. But Anand, Rolandie, thank you very much. I think I remember when we started this journey how daunting it was, because there's a lot of information that says nothing, that doesn't help you practically prepare for running a program, prepare for the accreditation processes. And what you guys have done is you've put together the content very systematically, that provides guidance and provides answers on questions that people would have. So I want to thank you guys. I want to thank everyone for taking the time to join us for this session. Like I say, we will communicate all the Q&As via email to everyone. And yes, this recording is going to be available. It is going to onto our Knowledge Hub and our YouTube channel, where you guys can go and review that. And I will ask that the link be sent to us so that we can attach the link to the Q&A email that goes out to everyone.